Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to Mike on to Mike. And today we're going to talk about my homeless scenarios and that whole story. So, before we begin on how hard I worked to be homeless, I'm going to start off with a little story from when I was like 18 and 19. I was in college. I was working two jobs, full-time at Target and part-time but tax-free at the college as a work study. And yeah, I had a car and an apartment and everything was going good. Lot of work though, but at the time, hey, gotta do what you gotta do. Anyways, my car broke down and I was stuck in a scenario of like, be homeless so I can do college, at least do the work study. Couldn't pay for my apartment, but at least eat, maybe find something in like the student services department, a roommate, I don't know. But it all happened so fast, and I was like, I'm going to try to take care of my apartment. So, anyways, I had to drop out of college, and even all these years later, I still have to deal with that sometimes. Anyways, if I knew how my life was going to play out, I would have done the homeless route way back when. So, let's take a moment for our sponsor, and we'll dive into all of the stories of how hard I worked to be homeless. So after dropping out of college, I worked a lot of retail, ended up working sometimes 100 hours per week and like 100 days straight, just nonstop, go, just trying to do what I can to get my life together. And then eventually I got my CDL, which was like roughly 70 hours a week every time. And then from there, I really built up a nice life. I had a home studio, a whole green screen room, finally had a nice car. I pimped it out with Lamborghini doors, stereo system, I just mentioned a home studio, got all my instruments back again and all sorts of stuff. Like, all together, I lost 20-ish thousand, possibly more, basically overnight, more so like over the course of 30 days. So how did it all happen? So I'm gonna tell you how it all began. I got laid off of work. And then my roommate was struggling, so I was like, okay, I'll give you my savings. It was only $3,000. And I was like, cool, this will, he came from a rich family, so I wasn't worried about the money. And I was like, cool, this will pay like 6 months rent. So I'll be fine as I like move on to my next thing. Well, like 2 weeks after that, a week after that, I wake up and he's dead. So that money never made it to the apartment complex. And even to this day, I'm still paying for a lot of this stuff. Anyways, after I found him passed away, I mean, that was heart-wrenching. He was like a fatherly figure. He was my uncle, and we treated it like roommates, so it was good. And we were like, at the time, we were like best friends, so it was awesome. Anyways, from there, my pets started dying, one at a time. And then another uncle passed away. And then a week after that, someone had a heart attack, a cousin. And then about a month after that, my grandpa died. And there was actually 5 people that died in that month, basically. Oh yeah, my stepdad too. I didn't really know him, but it was just like everybody was dying. And then my pets died. So altogether, I was going through like 12 different deaths. I was like, oh my God. And then, so obviously I didn't have any money because I just gave it to him. So we ended up getting evicted, me, I guess. And I put all my stuff, all that stuff I just mentioned that I worked for, into that car. And then I moved it over to my aunt's. And within 2 days it got towed, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have money to get it out. So I literally lost like 5 years worth of work just within 30 days. And yeah. So things were really going downhill after that. I was like, I really need a place to live. My aunt wanted me to go to, because I was getting so depressed. My aunt really wanted me to go to ER. I'm like, no, I can't afford more debt. They're just going to be like, oh, you're fine, and release me. So it's like, no. So if you've heard my autobiography or my biography, you know, but I didn't know what to do, so I reached out to my dad. And then from there, ended up living with a prostitute, and she just kept talking my ear off about how good she can give blowjobs, and she was middle-aged, Pretty sure she was on meth. There's a meth pipe in our like little area where she, quote unquote, also smoked weed. Anyways, so I was typing on Facebook. I was like, "Get me out of here! Get me out of here!" So someone's like, "Hey, go to Alaska," and then I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." They house you, they feed you. It's only seasonal, so I was out there for about 5 to 7 weeks, somewhere in there. 16-hour days, 7 days a week, and it was like, but it did give me some food, gave me a place to live, and it gave me a check. So I had like $4,000 after that, and I got dropped off. I was like, man, there's not much in Colorado, my home. When I was reaching out to people, they didn't help. So I got dropped off in Seattle. I used that money to buy a car to live in, and then slowly took it from there, which it didn't work out. It's really hard to get back on your feet. So anyways, by the end of that, my car was breaking down, and I had to go back to Alaska again. I was like, all right, let's try this again. But this time, before I went back to Alaska, for 6 months I worked for this trucking company, but they were literally only paying me $1.26, how I averaged it. Northern Eagle Transport LLC. You can look it up on Facebook and multiple places. They're out of business. Good riddance. Because they only paid me $1.26 per hour, so I was even racking up debt just trying to get some food. So anyways, I went out to Alaska a second time as a trucker, and there wasn't really a raise. It was just a couple bucks. It wasn't even close to what they pay down at normal jobs. So I basically had like another $5,000. And I got dropped off in Colorado this time. And I did the same thing. I bought a car and lived in it, and then did the Uber stuff. I was like, all right. But that gets really expensive with maintenance and gas, and yeah. So it was like, oh shoot, I'm stuck in a rut again. Then the car broke down. I was like, oh my God. And yeah, it was really tough for a couple years. Before I go any further about my life getting better, I want to talk about a few things during the homeless era. Not being able to shower for a month. Basically having to take out work advances, $200 per week, which was more than my paycheck per week for working 70 hours. So, yeah. So, like, things were just bad. Just trying to find anywhere to sleep. Cops knocking on the window like, hey, you can't sleep here. Got evicted from Walmart because they were like, you can't live here. And I was in my car, and I would only I wasn't even making a mess, but I was just parking there at night to take a nap, or even in the afternoon. But I got evicted from Walmart. They gave me a little letter and said, if you don't leave, we're calling the cops. It's like, okay. So it was crazy. And then just trying to get $11 to $15 to go to a truck stop to shower. That's expensive, especially when you're broke. So just trying to get through. And then I tried reaching out to a lot of people. Some people would add me just to laugh at me on Facebook. Some were didn't take it seriously. So it's people want to be your friend when you're doing well, but no one cares about you when things aren't going well. That's definitely a lesson of life. Tried reaching out, it's nobody was any help. I have a lot of stories, but trying not to, I don't really hold any resentment. I would have to actually think about it because it's been a couple years now. Anyways, brushing your teeth at Walmarts or in public parks, and even though you're brushing your teeth at least twice a day, your teeth are rotting away because it's what the heck? Maybe the water's not very good or something. It's Jesus. So it was very rough stuff. Well, I'm going to take a minute break from that for a moment, and we'll get back to it, the rest of the story.